so much for joining us. I'm Jennifer Sanders. It is Election Day, and despite it being an off year, there are several key races that analysts are watching pretty closely across the country. With the presidential debate just a day away, will voters' participation really preview what awaits presidential hopefuls in 2024? We want to bring in Alice Barr right now. Alice, thank you so much for being with us. You are in Miami. First, let's talk about some of the key races across the country that could really have larger implications for national politics.
Yeah, Jennifer, there's a lot that we're tracking in races across the country, and kind of one of the umbrella themes is abortion rights and how that is playing out and may potentially be driving voters looking ahead, of course, to these implications for 2024. Now, the main point of focus is in Ohio, where there's a ballot measure that voters are voting on today that would actually enshrine abortion rights protections into the state's constitution. This is something that, we talked a lot about in the last midterm elections, and since then there have been a number of states, since really the overturning of Roe v. Wade, a number of states that have put it on their ballot whether or not to protect abortion rights or to actually have outlawing abortion earlier on in pregnancy. And we've seen a number of states that have actually said they wanted to protect abortion rights. So that's what's on the ballot today in Ohio. It's also kind of a theme in some of the other races that we're watching. In Virginia, there is a race to see whether the legislature is going to flip fully Republican. Right now, the governor and the House are Republican, the Senate is Democrat. And that has been framed as kind of an issue around abortion, because if currently the Senate has been sort of a bulwark to prevent any laws that would lower protections for abortion access in that state. So that's kind of the framing there as well. And then we're also looking at races in Kentucky and Mississippi, hotly contested governor's races that could give us kind of indications about where the electorate is headed.
And Alice, a lot to certainly keep track of. You mentioned Ohio, Virginia, Kentucky as well. Are we seeing robust voter turnout in those states?
So actually the early turnout in Ohio is a little bit lower, which is kind of surprising given what we've been discussing about how hotly contested the abortion issue is there. But we may see that change throughout the day today. We have seen in Mississippi, one of the other areas where there's one of these hotly contested races. We're hearing that there are some crowded polling places there. So something that we're going to see shake out certainly throughout the day today.
And then lastly, let's look ahead to tomorrow. We have the GOP debate happening in Miami, where you're at. We know former President Donald Trump is skipping out on that. 5 candidates will take the stage. The political landscape, though, has really changed since the last time they debated in California. What can we expect?
Right. So one thing that's obviously been ongoing is the legal troubles that former President Trump is facing. So he's been actually embroiled in this civil trial just this week, and he's not here. He's skipping this debate again. We know that there are just going to be 5 candidates on the stage tomorrow night, and they're expecting that they may actually have a better chance to really get their voice across. They're, of course, trying to make a dent in the far and away lead that former President Trump has. I spoke earlier today with Senator Tim Scott. He is one of the candidates trying to get his voice across, and that's exactly what I asked him. Are you going to be a little more forceful and try to get your voice across at the debate tomorrow night? He said his main point is that he just wants to try to be comfortable on stage. That's really what he's going for. And I want to make one quick note. Ohio voting numbers are actually up, and it's Virginia voting numbers that are seeing early voting turnout actually down. So Virginia is where the governor is hoping to try to get control of a full GOP legislature. Early turnout there is a little bit lower. Ohio voting is up, which is what we expected on that reproductive rights issue that is really, a through line through so many elections today.
Okay, Alice Barr, thank you so much. As I said, a lot to keep track of, and we appreciate you so much for being with us this afternoon.